I heard them saying we've reached Morrowind. I'm sure to let us go. You are dreaming. What's your name?
My name's Beau.
Oh, hi. I'm Don.
That's the Telvanni run. Not bad for a second go. I am Beau.
I am Don.
And this is Morrowind at long last.
Whew.
Yeah, so we finally arrived in Morrowind.
My big introduction to RPGs, open world. It's a little embarrassing to admit. I didn't have a computer, but I saw someone else play it. And I had like 15 minutes of play, and it just haunted my dreams throughout. Like, what the hell? That's not a video game. That's a world.
It's a life. It's a life.
It really is.
Morrowind was, in Daggerfall was excellent, but Morrowind felt more real. It felt like an actual ecology, actual economies, actual... Because when you bought from a merchant, they didn't regenerate gold.
Yeah.
That was the gold they had.
Yeah.
So... you could ruin a town's economy. Balmora's economy was never the same after my first character. There wasn't a dime in that city by the time I was done with them.
Yeah, you cut the threads of fate. You could keep going in this doomed world
you could kill NPCs that were vital to the story. You could kill Vivek.
It'll tell you.
You could kill a god.
And it's not even that important after he's fulfilled his purpose.
It's not that. Now, would it still say, after he fulfilled his purpose of the story, would it still give you that message if you killed him?
I don't think so. I'm pretty sure after you've completed the main quest, Vivek is no longer flagged that way.
Right. Which is another thing that's just brilliant.
So after
about
Mournhold, if you want to just complete the trifecta,
right,
and finally fulfill Nerevar's wish
of killing him.
Yeah.
So where to even begin?
Okay, I remember Satanine, and wait, these houses, you can go in them? This shack? Whoa.
And these are people's belongings that you can take from them?
Somebody lives here.
No, yeah, someone actually lived there. It was, even walking down the ramp off the boat, and if you were playing on PC or even on, I never played on Xbox, so maybe Xbox 2, but if you had a stereo sound system, you could clearly see you were in a swamp, and you could hear the mosquitoes and it was so good. I mean, I am legitimately nostalgic for that sound, of walking off the boat and your footsteps even. Mm-hmm.
There are a lot of associations for Morrowind for me, because I got it on the Xbox around Christmas time when I still had time to play video games quite a bit. Christmas break.
Right.
So that was me homebound for those long stretches, and I'm just exploring this world that I saw 2 years prior. Right. And one of the first things I did was I went to the slave owner's house in Balmora, not knowing he was. I didn't know what his story was.
Right.
I just okay, this looks like a nice. I've got a lot of stuff I'm carrying around. It's weighing me down. I need to put it somewhere. So I walk into this guy's house. Okay, there's no guards here, and I've got a rusty iron dagger. So I just walk up, shank him, and start sleeping in his bed. And then 50 hours later, I start the Twin Lamps quest. You need to go to this guy's house and free this slave. Where's this guy's slave? He was living in a cupboard under the stairs the entire time. My entire game, he was listening to me trundle around, deposit pillows in front of his door.
Who was it in our friend group? Adam, was it you that had the house in Balmora full of pillows? You collected every pillow in the game?
Literally.
Yeah. I never got huge into modding, especially at first anyway. But you don't really need to, because everything is so. You can make spells that don't work, and that's your prerogative. You just live with the consequences. Or you enchant an amulet to give you 1 levitation. You're not going to be fast, but you'll always be floating.
Right? I remember my first 20 playthroughs, I actually would always go to Balmora first. And the one time I decided to go rogue and take the other way out of Satanine, and the guy falls. The guy just flat falls on this guy. And you don't have to read or anything. You can just walk along and just wonder why this elf fell from this. Oh my God.
And then you can pick up his scrolls and use them and figure out, hey... cause and effect.
It's just such an incredible incredible game for that reason. The Naked Nord.
Oh yeah,
The Naked Nord.
it turns out that Nords are really susceptible to witches stealing their clothes.
Well, and the thing is like the best thing is like I was playing a Nord, so I was kind of role playing like, hell yeah, dude, let's go get your axe back. And then like halfway through the quest, you find out no, this guy's a dirtbag. No, it's just stuff like that. Like I saw a thing the other day on a Morrowind shitposting group I'm part of, where it was like a Morrowind, like 27th last seed. Oh, this guy, he's been hearing bears at night, so he wants me to go out and find some bear pelts. He thinks he should brew this potion, it's a beautiful evening, so I think I'll go hunt bears. And then it said Oblivion, like, hey, this guy needs 10 bear pelts. Go find 10 bear pelts and bring it back to him to make a coat. And then it said Skyrim, kill 10 bears. Like, it just all the flavor that Morrowind had. Morrowind is a delicious bowl of ramen, like you see in anime. And by the time we get to Skyrim, we've got top ramen. Like, it's just, I love it for a snack, but good Lord, like.
And it has the pitch perfect way to introduce you to the story with the main quest, but not handhold you or force you to do anything.
Oh, it's the perfect one in the series.
Like, okay, you took out that you know how you filled out that survey in the Imperial office. Well, that was just to confirm something we already knew. It's going to sound weird, but you just happen to fit the bill for a prophecy. We're not buying that for a minute. Right? But these people, these Dunmer. Look, no, you're a rogue. You're now an Imperial spy. So just go out there and see what's going on. There's some weird stuff going on. You don't necessarily have to come. Just if you see anything strange, report it to me. Okay? All right. Yeah, have fun.
Go wild. Go nuts.
Like if you need any easy experience in Golden Quest, you know where to find me. I'm in my shack.
Shooting up scoom all day.
I got to keep up appearances.
And that's another thing that was great about Morrowind was everything was so broken, like sociologically. Like, you've got indigenous people.
It's broken by design.
No, that's what I mean. Yeah. Like, you've got indigenous people, you've got hyper-indigenous people, you've got an empire. And it was the first game in the Elder Scrolls, and still the only one that was like, hey, you know what? The Empire sucks. Like, they're not doing a whole lot of good stuff. Like, we don't want them here. We want them gone. And it wasn't this cheap Trump thing like they did with Skyrim. It was like a legit, like, wow, like, hey, like...
I like that even the pro-Imperial faction still has a Dunmer name, though, Halalu.
Oh, yeah.
Like
the great house that supports...
Look, we benefit from being parts of the Imperium. We're just better than you at doing so. And if you're... does that make us less Dunmer?
Right? Dude, it's the Carlton thing on Fresh Prince, where he couldn't get into the frat, remember? Because he was rich.
Yeah, like
they hated him for being rich, yeah.
Like, oh, the Telvanni sitting over there in their mushrooms, the Redderans over there in their little dust piles, keeping to the old ways, while I'm just stacking fat stacks.
That one guy in
Ghost riding the whip and stacking paper to the ceiling.
That one Halalu, though, he was pretty suspicious.
Oh, so okay.
I felt dirty joining House Halalu,
Yeah, but House Halalu also accepts they're the ones most likely to accept a non-Dunmer. But then you find out that there's very few people they won't accept. Right. Like you find the guy who you have to talk to, and he's like, "Oh, precious."
Yeah.
Would you like to read Lusty Argonian Maid?
To me? I felt dirty, and that was the kind of storytelling that Bethesda used to know about. And you know what? People say, there should have been fast travel. The game would have been better with fast travel. I love getting directions and walking somewhere.
Yeah.
I love it. It makes the game feel so much more real.
Get the boots of blinding speed. Like, you don't need to know where you're going. Just point yourself in the cardinal direction and get there.
And dude, in the boots of blinding speed, that's such a cool, gosh, that's so good, because boots of blinding speed. Yep,
I didn't get the joke for the longest time, because at that point, I was playing a Breton, so I already had 40% magic resistance, and I always decked myself out to be immune to magic.
Right.
So by the I put on the boots of blinding speed, and like, wow, these are awesome. Why would you wear anything else? And like, then I talk to other people, and like, man, why aren't you wearing the boots of blinding speed? Oh, ha ha!
Oh, Don.
What? Like, just humor me. Put them up. Wait, is your TV broken? What's going on? No, let's put the blue. Okay, different play styles, I guess.
That's interesting. You made so you had 100% magicka resistance.
Yeah. Well, I think 80%. Like when I took I had the boots of blinding speed taken from me at one point. Like for story mode, you have to do this.
Yeah.
So I had to take them off, and my screen got brighter. Like, oh, my TV's messing up.
Right.
But like, so the whole time I was playing with like a 10 or 20% dark tint, and I didn't notice.
Oh, real quick, while it pops in my head, the Morag Tong is a cooler faction than the Dark Brotherhood.
Oh yeah,
like
definitely.
Way cooler. Like, and I love that they added that flavor in there. Like, hey, we don't like those mainlander assassins. Like, we got our own guild. It does fine by us. Thank you very much. Like, the Thieves Guild is the best Thieves Guild in the series too. Mm-hmm. I will say the Fighters Guild's pretty bland.
I just like that in order to advance, you have to do a lot of tedious things that make absolute sense for the guild you're doing them for.
Right. Oh,
like,
yeah.
With the Mages Guild, like I have some. I'm working on my doctorate, and I need this book, but this utter bitch will not lend it to me. I need you to steal it from her. And she's over here at this other Mages Guild in this other city. And if you need, and you know what, kid, you might need some help with this. Here is an invisibility spell.
Right.
That's good. It makes sense. You're learning the way a mage learns in this world.
Right. Whereas in Oblivion, it's like, hey, kill some rats. Just use magic to do it, or don't. Who gives a fuck? There's a Fighters Guild quest in Oblivion where you sneak around.
Yeah.
It pisses me off. And you can't advance the quest without sneaking around. Like, if that Argonian sees you, it's over. Mm-hmm. Like the one in Anvil where she's feeding a mountain lion to kill this woman's rats.
That was fun.
Anyway, but yeah, Morrowind's one of the few games that's fun and important.
Yeah.
Like, it is still fun.
I could not open that game and not find something.
To this day, I can't. I mean, I'm talking not modded, just playing straight.
There's always like a tomb, and I find a relic. Like, wait, that sounds familiar. It's not a quest. It was mentioned in a book, offhand.
Mm-hmm. Right. That's so cool. And
like this actually exists.
Umbra just stumbling upon this orc that gives you this really cool story.
I never actually deal much with swords, so Umbra was just another thing I put in the stack of refuse.
With where you're banging the sword around and the guy in the cupboard downstairs like, what is he doing? Why hasn't anyone fed me in 2 weeks?
Like hey, like imagine like just when you finally get around to doing the Twin Lamps quest because you finally stumbled upon it, and like, okay, you need to free this guy. Like, wait, this is my house. I mean, it's in this guy's name. Nobody knows he's dead. Right. His estate's still paying the taxes, but
and let me know, anyone who's watching this or listening to this, let us know somehow. Does everyone find their first house in Balmora by killing someone? I feel like that's just a tradition. Because in Morrowind, you could dispose corpse.
Yeah,
that was cool. Like, you didn't just have to wait for the game to get rid of it for you. The cities were so much cooler. The best cities.
They're all very unique.
They're all unique. I love the city of Vivek. I love it. It feels almost Star Wars-ish.
That's one where, like, when I finally decided to buckle down and actually visit it, it was like it was a whole game unto itself.
Right.
There's so much there.
There's so much in Vivek. Even Ebonheart. There's a lot to do in Ebonheart. Mm-hmm. I will say, and the sky, real quick while it's popped in my mind, the sky in Morrowind is the most gorgeous one. Mm-hmm. And that sucks because we've gotten better technology. Why does the skies not look better than it did? And
it's plot relevant. The closer you get to the volcano, the weirder it will get.
Yeah, exactly. That's God. That's so cool. Like, what happened, Bethesda?
Like there is there's evil spreading outward from this volcano, and it's just told to you thematically like that.
And such an absolute fantasy trope, so well done.
Mm-hmm.
Like the evil guy lives in the volcano. That's not even a trope for fantasy. That's just a trope in fiction. Period.
Now, the main story. Think like background. Nerevar and his companions lead the Dunmer into war against the Dwemer to stop them from doing their ultimate power, like wielding ultimate artifacts that mortals should not possess. And on the slopes of Mount Doom,
Right,
for the freedom of Morrowind.
Right.
And at the very moment when the battle was at its closest, Nerevar was wounded but not killed, and pressed the attack. Kangarnak, in desperation, uses the tools. All the dwarves disappear.
Right, and all the dwarves in the world.
Yeah.
And another interesting thing is this game's release date, 2002, I believe, 2003. Right in the midst of the Lord of the Rings craze.
But and then the story continues, because this is where you're introduced to Dagathur, the main villain, and it's
one of the best villains in fiction. Period.
You have to figure out because the main story that's told to you and as the background element is a lie that you have to unfold,
right,
thread by thread. Oh. Okay, they're not interested in us.
I think they were those cops.
Cops, yeah.
Guys, you just heard probably the rarest thing you'll ever. That was a third cop. Oh my God, I've never seen a third cop situation.
Yeah, that's
out here. That's crazy. Something bad happened. But not as bad as missing out on this Morrowind
someone
podcast.
violated the law.
Stop the criminal.
Stop criminal scum. Anyway, Dagathur and Nerevar, they saw what the tools of Kangarnak did, or the Heart of Lorkhan, and like, okay, this is above our pay grade. We need to talk with all our friends. Dagath, I trust you above everyone else. Don't let anyone do anything with these things. You're absolutely right. This power is corrupting. I will not leave here until you show up and tell me it's okay to leave. Anyway, Nerevar promptly goes back to his girlfriend and his weird wise friend and says, "Dude, they've got a lot of wicked power up there. I think we should destroy it." And like, "Oh yeah, you know what? Why don't you stare off that way and let me and Sot the Sill confer?" I'm like, right. So they go up, and Dagathur's like, "Wait, where's Nerevar?"
What'd you do to him?
I might go crazy or something. It's enough to put a man on a spot.
Yeah, he's sitting up there with
Dagath's getting upset.
I just like the idea of Dagathur just looking down the mountain, just going, "He's gonna show up any time now." Like, this is.
He wouldn't like. I have a place prepared for you. Welcome, Moon and Star. Why have you come unprepared? You said there would be chicken wings.
So basically,
I've got ranch dressing.
Dagathur is in this literal oven with all these toys.
Yeah.
And they build a wall around them, and Don can tell the central plot better than I can, but
that's basically it. Like, he did his job. He was a hero. Like, okay, I'll stay here with the evil corrupting stuff as long as I can. Nerevar's gonna come back and sort all this out, and he's gonna and this triumvirate's gonna fall.
Right.
Vivek, Amalexia, and Sot the Sill, they're going down. I'm gonna, maybe with this power I can do that. I will call upon my house, the sixth house.
So Vivek wasn't involved in the murder of the Nerevar.
I don't think so. No, he took of the power, but that was mostly Amalexia, I think.
Right. And that's the way they became the tribunal, was they partook of this power that the Nerevar is like, hey, nobody touch this.
Yeah, they defeated Dagathur, but not completely.
Right, exactly. They basically made it to where he stayed.
They Sauroned him.
Right.
No, they Sauroned him. So.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's just like the central point of the game. You have to. The tribunal is not outright evil. They're doing what they think is best.
Right.
But their powers are failing because Dagathur is starting to take the power back from them.
Because he's like, hey, wait a minute. You're the reason the Nerevar is not coming back.
Yeah, and Dagathur's not in his right mind. He's still charismatic as all hell, but he's been locked away with corruption for a long time.
Right.
All alone in a volcano with nothing but that undying guy who has keening.
Right.
I do love when you can just show up at his house anytime you want. If you want to just walk up to the volcano, you can do it.
Yeah, there's nothing stopping you.
And he'll just say, look, if you want to play, you can't kill me. I'm just saying.
Right.
You can kick me into the lava. I'll stay down there until you do the plot thing, and I die immediately.
Right. Right. I've never done a playthrough like that. I've always been curious as to what that would do, though.
Basically, he just says, in this place where destiny is made, why have you come unprepared?
Really?
Yeah.
That's kind of a cool thing for him to say. Like,
I know why you're here, but why aren't you here ready to do the thing?
Oh, but hey, you know what? Not all the dwarves disappeared.
Oh, yeah, there is one.
There is one, and you need him.
And we don't actually know. Is it ever really confirmed why he was spared? It sounds like he was traveling. Where to?
Right, where on the scope of Tamriel was he not subject to?
Was he just... the Corporus didn't make him fat. He was always just that annoying. Like,
he was bending over to pick something up when the wave hit, and he just fell over into the ditch, and the wave just passed over him, and he gets up and he goes, guys?
What are you talking about? What are you talking about?
Dwarves.
Yeah.
Dwenmer.
But he is really... he was a cool character. And the whole Corporus plague, that was pretty cool.
That's how they died, wasn't it? Dwarves.
No, that's just a thing.
No, that's just a thing in Morrowind.
That's just a thing that Dagathur is kind of doing. People who are afflicted can kind of fall under his influence or just, become zombies.
Right. But another thing we should say is Morrowind doesn't actually take place in the entire province of Morrowind.
Yeah, just
it takes place on the district of Vardenfell.
Yeah.
And that remains true until Mournhold. You could go to the capital, the mainland capital of Mournhold, and only that, and also the clockwork city of Sothasil.
Mm-hmm. And also the island with the Nords on it.
Yeah, that's in Blood Moon, Solstheim. Yeah. Which you find out which you return to in a Skyrim expansion.
One of the good parts of it, because there's a Telvanni mage there from the first game, and he's just a delightful asshole.
And you go to a Mournhold in Skyrim too, can't you?
I don't think so.
I feel like
it's possible. I don't really.
No, I'm thinking of the expansion for Elder Scrolls Online.
Oh, okay.
Morrowind. You could go back to a lot of stuff in Morrowind.
But yeah, like that's the. But I love it. You have all the time in the world to take in the story.
And they made a plot to where it wasn't pressing, because like in Oblivion, like it's kind of pressing, man.
Yeah.
Like and another thing is, Morrowind only affected Vardenfell. Mm-hmm. It didn't even affect all of Morrowind. Yeah. Just Vardenfell. They did such a good job of doing that and still making it an epic story. Whereas in Oblivion, nope, it's the whole world. Skyrim, nope, it's the whole world. Now. Mm-hmm. Now. Like, both games start off with a city being destroyed, for God's sakes.
That was Fire Engine.
Yeah, so that makes me feel a little bit better. It's a fire, not... Well, I don't feel better that it's a fire. I'm saying it makes me feel better. It wasn't a murder or something.
The meth market's going to take a hit. We'll get through this.
But prayers for all involved. Prayers for all involved.
Yeah, we'll get subsidies for the meth.
I think that's a really weird saying, too. Like, prayers for all involved. What if it was arson? Are you praying for the arsonists as well?
Say what you like about the man. He was a good fire starter. But a fire starter.
So what kind of build did you normally go with? A Brett and Mage kind of thing?
Pretty much, yeah. I always like. It's kind of. I can't not do something when you can use magic in Morrowind because there's so many weird things you can do with spell combinations.
And magic was at its best in Morrowind.
When I found out that you can expand the radius of a fireball to absurd heights, okay, wait a minute. Instead of doing direct damage, what if we did damage over 1,000 seconds? Just one. Right? I've got levitation. I can wait. So I'd like levitate up above Balmora, nuke it, and wait as everyone scurries around on fire, getting a slight coffee exposure, but constantly.
Do you role play your characters? Because if so, you play some disturbing ass characters.
Not particularly.
You know what? It would have been better for Vardenfell had the Nerevar never showed up. The Nevarine.
Yeah.
Nerevarine.
The Nevarine prophecy. Yeah. But the character is Nerevar.
Yeah.
Yeah, I kind of... Okay, my playstyle is basically like a cat chasing a laser pointer. Imagine just I love how organic the world is. There's people doing their own thing all over the place. There's some guy who has a guar, he's been wounded, and he just wants to get to market to sell his goods. And he hears a rustling in the bushes. And out I come in an exquisite robe that is just soiled with mud and blood. I've got I've got eyes going off in different directions. I have a weird magic aura. There's 8 cliff racers that I turn back and roast. I pull out a minor potion of healing, chuck it down, smash it against my face, turn slowly towards him and say, Morrowind, huh? Any rumors lately?
Oh my god.
Have you seen the twin lamps? They light the way to freedom. Boots of blinding speed, away!
The Nord random line, seen any elves lately?
Only your mother last night. Oh.
Oh my god! I still love that. That's just one of the random lines a Nord will say. It's just seen any elves lately?
Saw a mud crab the other day.
Disgusting creatures.
There's only one merchant in the lot of them. Okay, and that's another the weird hidden things like that. The mud crab merchant. There's a grotto right next to the mud crab. There's nothing in it. I built weapons of mass destruction and put them there to add to my world. That is now my grotto. Right. Some other adventurer is going to find this staff and have fun.
And that's and the towns, so many towns. Mm-hmm. A ton of little towns.
You always find another one. And the Redoran, they live in those the skeletons of those giant things that just don't exist anymore.
Right. And that's such a cool thing to have. It's kind of the Dune of No, wait, we already said that, didn't we? On the Oblivion. Oblivion is Star Wars and Morrowind is Dune.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's such a good description for that. Because of course Star Wars still kicks ass, but there's
a lot more to go through in Dune.
Right. In fact, there was a thing on I saw online the other day where it was man's 6th attempt at reading Dune not going so well. Dune's fantastic. Read Dune.
Hold a conjure bar at your throat, young Atreides.
But Morrowind is fantastic. Please, dear God, play Morrowind.
I love when you find the creep merchant and you realize, okay, this guy is just the best merchant in the goddamn game. Right? I'm going to come back to this house with nothing but orcs and this guy.
Right? That one town that has the it's a Halalu town.
Oh yeah,
and I just said that really Hank Hill. It's one of them Halalu towns.
If you're not from Morrowind, you'll find good welcome there.
Right? It is the what is it? The International House of Pleasure, or whatever. It has the
Yeah.
3 really weird NPCs dancing in their small clothes.
I'm not gonna lie. I would often dominate mind one of the dancers because they'll just stop following you and start dancing wherever you stop. Let's just say after several hours, unnecessary hours, Vivek had a nice little dance crew hanging around it. And then a tragic mishap. I don't know exactly when this happened. I don't know if this was in the main game or a mod that I was using years after the fact. But I found, like, I got the idea in my head that the mark and recall, where you can just teleport anywhere. Can you cast recall on a target? In this particular instance, I don't know if this was a mod, but you could. And you could make, so basically you can walk up, touch somebody after casting Mark 50 feet in the air, it'll be raining men.
And right in the middle of Vivek.
Yeah. And anyway, there was a werewolf I didn't want to deal with, and I teleported him, but I did not remember where I had cast Mark. It turns out I had last been to Vivek's palace, so I got back and he's fighting a werewolf, and there's 3 dead dancers.
He's the toughest NPC in the game, isn't he? Even more than Dagathur.
That sounds about right.
I wonder if anyone can naturally beat him. Like, I wonder if you could make a character good enough to where you could legit.
Oh yeah, you can totally kill Vivek.
Oh really?
He goes down pretty easily if you play your cards right. I would enchant like swords, like weakness against shock, and then shock for exactly the time that it's weak.
Right.
And you can just abuse that system pretty easily, and you get some pretty decent sword. There's some swords in Mournhold that are very enchantable.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. There's a lot of charge for them. And you feel kind of bad running around, like casting summoning golden saints because their souls are really valuable, and just immediately like sticking a knife in their neck and like shh, get in my gym. Just shh, it's okay. Just get in my gym.
Remember the Aedra existed.
Yeah,
there were Aedra, and then like Oblivion came out, and they're like, we're not doing that anymore. Which is weird because when I was playing the Elder Scrolls card game, when I was trying to tell myself that it was good, the Elder Scrolls Legends, there was cards for Aedra.
One of the quests that really blew my mind was I think it was the Boethia quest. There's no shrine to Boethia. But there is lore about where a shrine used to be. You dive out there, and there is wreckage of a shrine. It's not working. It's broken. It's a ruin. But there is a sculptor, an orc sculptor. If you talk to her,
that's right.
She will carve a new shrine out of a rock face, and you can finally summon Boethia to start her quest.
That's so cool. Like.
And it
Why
changes.
did they stop doing stuff like
the
this?
landscape changes because of that.
Right. It's just a cool thing to put in there.
And it really hammers out there's things underneath the water to look for.
Right. It's like...
Even if it's just a ship with 500 pillows and nothing else.
A bunch of soggy pillows.
Yeah.
The SS Soggy Pillow.
And those Drew that are always running around.
Oh, yeah. And the factions. So many factions. Mortong, in your traditional class guilds, Thief, Mage, the Imperial Legion. You could be a Legionnaire.
Oh, yeah. You have to wear a uniform, which makes perfect sense.
You can't be a Legionnaire in Oblivion, the capital of the Legion, but you can in Morrowind. The houses, the great houses.
And they all hate each other for different reasons.
And it's totally cool. That's another thing. The socioeconomic rivalries in Morrowind. It just made it feel. That's what made it feel like a real place. I don't give a fuck that people had a schedule in Oblivion.
Yeah,
I don't give a shit. It still didn't feel as real as Vardenfell because there was legit shit that happens in real.
You have to get these people to work together, even though they hate each other.
Right. And it wasn't some stupid dumbass Civil War thing in Skyrim when you go through the main quest and they're like,
no, this is ongoing. This is just life.
Right.
This is accepted.
Right. And okay. So hang on. So Democratic Party of Forerunners right now. Which house do they belong to? Let's do this.
Well,
is Biden Lalu?
Yeah, obviously.
Biden's Lalu. Okay. So who's the other two front runners right now?
Let's see. Kamala Harris did well in the
Kamala
debate,
Harris.
and Warren is really. She's probably eaten up a lot of Sanders' support, and she has room to grow, so she'll probably eclipse him.
Yeah. So let's go ahead and say Warren over Sanders because I feel the same way too. So who's Warren? Is she Telvanni? Is she the Telvanni?
No, she actually cares about the world, so...
Right. I don't want her to be Telvanni because personally I like her, so I would like I would like her to be Redrin. Yeah. But you know what? No, Biden would be Redrin because he's holding the old standard.
It's true.
He's the old Democrat. He's the old blue.
Yeah.
So Warren is a Lalu.
You could. Halalu are all about business, though. She's Twin Lamps.
Okay, yeah. So now we have to find a new. Find a new person.
They don't have any real power, but they're the bane of the slaver's existence, though.
And they're the one the people love.
Yeah.
So
they light the way to freedom.
So Biden's still Halalu. We need to find a Redrin.
Let's see. Oh, who was the one? The bald guy from Stalwell.
Okay. I can't argue with that.
He showed up knowing full well he was going to be rejected.
Now, who's Telvanni?
The one Williamson?
Okay, we can go with that.
She was the Trump that we're just never going to get because the Democrats have, standards. Useless party. We had so much fun with this.
We're just gonna have to accept that we're never gonna have the 2012 GOP.
We're never
ever again. That was just a beautiful primary, Don, and it's gone.
I mean, it's like it's like in 1946. Man, remember when we used to joke about that Hitler guy, about how terrible his paintings were, and now when we tell those jokes, dude, people are dead. It's not funny anymore.
Oh my god! The 2012 primary. Newt Gingrich is Telvanni. Newt Gingrich is pure Telvanni.
He wants to go to the moons. I could see there being a Telvanni mage who was just completely out of his mind, senile about going to the moons.
He gave an address in Second Life. Literally made an avatar and everything and spoke to people.
Anyway, a Telvanni, the mushrooms. The mushroom houses. I love that there's several different towns related to them, and one of them is a slave market.
Because the Telvanni are the huge slave apologists. They're like, hey, this is part of Morrowind's life.
This is part of our traditions.
This is part of very antebellum.
Yeah,
very.
It's almost like they're intellectuals that they fancy themselves. They're rational, reasonable centrists.
No, it's very antebellum. These people see themselves as bastions of culture, and they don't see how evil they are.
Look, we're not like the Redderans. We're above them. Don't confuse us with the evangelicals. But you're talking about freeing slaves. That's a big upending of the natural order of.
And that was what was
cool. You need
cool.
to just accept that we're better, and that if you're good enough, you can get a mushroom tower.
That was what was cool about Morrowind was it didn't just spell out evil in your face. It made you look for the evil. No way, these guys are slavers. They are shitbags.
Yeah, and I'm not gonna lie. I'm not gonna sit here and tell you the mushroom towers aren't cool. I'm just saying. Slavery's a thing.
My sibling plays Telvanni every time, gets all the shit they could get from it, and then kills every Telvanni mage.
You can bug the game and become Halalu because you can lift the deed and start the quest to build a manor.
Oh, yep.
Even if you're committed to the Telvanni, so you can have the mushroom tower and the little fortress. The quest is a little jank, but it works.
Now, did Redderin defend slavery? I can't remember. Lalu outright condemned it.
Yeah, because they're the Imperials, and the Imperials are progressive.
Right.
In this world.
In this, so much in Oblivion, and then they went back to it in Skyrim.
Yeah.
The Uriel Septim VII was a good man. That's what I'm trying to say.
That's the thing. The Empire is a multicultural beast. It can't not be. And if it weren't, it would fall apart.
Morrowind was when they retconned the Mesoamerican thing.
Yeah.
That's when they became more like Charlemagne's Holy Roman Empire rather than...
And I do love the background. It introduces you to the Berenzia books where it talks about how Morrowind came to be in the Empire.
Right.
and the Empire's attempt to accommodate them slowly. Like, there's several stories about the war.
Mostly centered around the city of Ebonheart, if
Yeah.
I'm not mistaken. Yeah.
And like, okay, we talked with Vivek and the prince in the Empire story. He's like, this is a good prince. He'll make a fine emperor, but he ends up dying.
Right.
It's but you find out why Morrowind is so weird, because the Empire, as long as they pay their taxes, they're allowed certain allowances,
Right.
including slavery. Although the Empire will work against it, they won't do so officially.
God, it's such a good game. God, it's such a...
That's why there's so much spying stuff.
I was just texting someone earlier about how the Elder Scrolls, there's so much rich lore in it. And he's like, I just wish we had more. And I'm like, dude, you've got to play Morrowind.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's all there.
It's basic. It really kind of is like the Antebellum South, because slavery is the law, and there is a very fervent support for it, both in the law and among vigilantes. In Morrowind, there are still abolitionists.
Absolutely,
There's an underground, and they are backed by powerful economic forces in Boston, Massachusetts. All hail Boston. Boston will reign forever.
That's the weird thing. Because
the Empire is Boston. Yeah.
Yeah,
We've established that.
in Boston.
Hey,
So-
you guys. Or I can't do a Boston accent. Sorry.
Baston.
Bastion.
Baston.
Hear you. Hear you. Damn it! I can't do it.
Can't do it either. But it's just a great in that this setting wasn't this pristine fantasy setting. It was a deeply flawed, deeply ugly world, and in that sense, it was so. It was a great. And for them to the new format of that Elder Scrolls took on this like sort of like a pound for pound world, not just random generated dungeons and stuff that Daggerfall did. For them to introduce this in this weirdo fantasy setting rather than a pristine one, it was all the right decisions. Morrowind is the crowning achievement of the Elder Scrolls. I want them to prove me wrong. I just don't feel like they will. I don't think the Elder Scrolls 6 will prove me wrong. I don't.
I love the different regions of Morrowind. When you go to the Ashlands and you find that there's not a whole lot in the way of civilization, but there are people living there, and you find out why they live there. And then when the main quest sends you there, you have to get all these people, the Outlanders, to work with the houses who also hate each other.
Right. Yeah.
There's the convoluted. This guy wants something that you can't just bribe this guy. He wants a wife. From a Telvanni noble. And that's not going to happen.
Right.
There's no Telvanni noble who's going to marry an Ashlander, even if it would be pragmatic to do so.
Right.
So you have to buy a slave and say, look, do you want to be chiefess of a tribe? Yeah, you know what? That sounds better
Right.
than this.
And that's another thing in Morrowind is like, so there's all these tons of political factions that hate each other. Tons. Like they spent so much time world building for this. They really did. And I just feel like in Oblivion they didn't. I feel like that's why they went back to a traditional fantasy setting, because they're like, you know what, guys? Like I'm still tired from Morrowind.
Like all the factions are there. They're just doing their own thing, and they're not interacting with each other all that much.
It's
With
almost
Halalu wins. By like if you join Halalu or any one of the clans, you're going to screw over other people.
right.
Like you actually have to sabotage the Halalu outpost that's being built. That could have been yours. If
Right.
You play as another
Right.
house.
And that's it. It's just like I said earlier, it just makes the world feel more real. Like the Twin Lamps is a cool addition,
and you have to really look for them because they're underground. And they're not a huge thing.
That's cool. That's so cool. And
There's no town crawl like, hey, come here to meet the secret society.
it's not something that shows up random when you talk to people about rumors. Like in
you'll hear-
Oblivion, they'll be like,
Yeah.
hey, have you heard about the Dark Brotherhood who you joined by killing someone and then waiting in a inn far away? Like, it was so cheesy. Whereas the Morag Tong was even a more... The Dark Brotherhood was in Morrowind, though.
Morthole, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, that expansion starts because of a failed assassination attempt.
Yeah.
You wake up getting attacked by Dark Brotherhood, which, by the way, never activate Mournhold until you're sure you can handle it. Because if you just go, like, if you make a level 1 character, that guy's going to kill your ass every time. And that was another thing, was things were scaled in Morrowind, but not always. There were things that were just going to kill you no matter what. I like that.
And cliff racers are always going to be an issue.
Oh my god, yeah.
I accidentally ran through so many cliff racers that I just had no. I'm either going to die and I haven't saved in a long time. I'll just go to a city and let the Imperial Guard. The Imperial Guard could not handle it.
Oh,
the city was wiped
dragging
out.
them all to Balmora, yeah.
The city was wiped out. Anyone that was not like, I ended up having to reload to save because I found out. Because out of nowhere, I was like, with this character's death, someone important died.
You're just walking around and you see the notification.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, what happened?
And it's the level of freedom afforded you. You could become an addict.
Oh God, yeah.
In Morrowind, you could legitimately live in the sewers of Vivek as a goddamn addict.
Yeah.
Skooma. And merchants wouldn't deal with you if you had skooma.
Oh yeah, I forgot about
Legitimate
that.
merchants.
You'll have to get rid of that.
You'll have to get. I don't do business with
If you want to see Joe Bosch's rare books, you're gonna have to take that out of here. It's a lie. Marijuana. Don't try it at all. Because your life is a gift. Don't abuse it. Whoa. And the priests will help you with that if you know. There's temples, there are services for you.
There's clergymen you could talk to. Vampirism was cooler in Morrowind. Way cooler. Werewolf was cooler because it wasn't something that a faction just forced on you out of nowhere. That was lame and stupid.
Like somebody comes up, like, dude, you know how you just like ran into a house full of werewolves and fought them hand to hand? That's a good way to get affected. You might want to get yourself tested. Like I like the idea of the Skull Village just having that like mundane relationship with the werewolves infesting their island. like guys and girls are like talking like, look, I just went to the temple. You might want to get yourself tested. Yeah, you know how Steve disappeared? We don't know what happened to him. I think I ran into him out in the wilds. You might want to get yourself tested. Like, it was never a problem for me because I was so whirling with magical power at that point. I was constantly after the fight. Okay, heal, cure disease. Okay, so I walked out of that building, immediately did that. Like, oh yeah, okay, you're not infected with lycanthropy, I guess. Congratulations.
Good looking out.
Yeah. I'm not gonna lie, man. I walked into that house and started levitating, and the wolves couldn't touch me.
I had a fireball that cast 1 damage over 1,000 seconds.
It took a while. I didn't save anyone, but I got out of there alive. I also may have accidentally transported a werewolf somewhere. I don't know. The disease could spread to the mainland. This could become an issue. Just saying, it was not me.
But it was me.
It was me, but it was not me. Wink, wink.
Solstheim has one of my most hated quests in the game, having to find that Imperial Guard Cyrodiilic brandy.
Oh, yeah.
Because I would always waste them all before I got to them. I would always sell them. So then you have to go through the game, and I don't think there's that many Cyrodiilic brandies in the game.
I do love the how it introduces the werewolf threat, though. Like, you start like if you're working with the Imperial Legion, which at that point, if you played like most people when the expansion came out, have already played through the game quite a bit, so you're probably already in the Legion.
Yeah.
So it makes sense that you go over there and try to do some jobs for them. And then, like, they send you on a few quests. One of them takes you outside the fort. You come back. It's been attacked, and the commander has been kidnapped.
Right.
By werewolves kidnapping people? That's weird. Are they recruiting? Well, I guess we'll have to look into that.
Right.
Like, okay, the skull up there. They probably know what's up with the werewolves, and that's perfect. That makes perfect sense. There's no quest marker. There's somewhere up in the northeast of the island. Just explore. You might have to earn their trust, but whatever. And then you have to go through I've never actually done a werewolf playthrough because I heal myself all the time. But
Right.
I do like okay, we're gonna do all this mystical stuff to figure out what's going on, and they lead you on that cool torchlight procession through the woods as werewolves are stalking you.
Oh yeah.
And like one by one, the torches disappear, and you go to find them, and they're just dead behind a tree.
Right. God, that's so good.
And then like the chieftain of the skull that's been he wears dark armor. Come on.
Right. Right.
He disappears. Okay, someone is taking champions. There's one other, and then you go to this weird castle run by these weird goblin things.
Right.
And they're like, man, our king's missing. Oh, you got a king? A goblin king? No, he's a frost giant, an ice giant. He's a mountain of ice golems, and the werewolves showed up and kidnapped him. Anyway, in his absence, I thought I might be able to take over. I've got career aspirations. And then you finally go to Hercene to attend his Blood Bowl game. Right. And he's just got like I love Hercene. He's so delightful in this. Like hey, you're my last champion. I sent my werewolf to kidnap you. Like you wake up, you fall asleep, and I love falling asleep in a crowded area, and a werewolf just shows up in the middle of the night. Like, come on, man, we gotta go. You got the golden ticket. Here's your invitation to Hogwarts. You're a champion, Harry. And then you fight your way through, and like you find the Imperial commander in like this weird hell dimension. He's like, dude, I've been fighting werewolves for like 2 weeks. I don't know if I can. I'm not going to be of any help.
Right.
But here's how this works. If you look at this statue the wrong way, it will turn into a werewolf. And it's just not a good time, man. Don't do it.
Don't do it. Don't do it, man.
And you find the Skull Chieftain, and he's like, I just turned the corner and you were already laughing. What's going on? I bet you didn't expect that I was in fact evil. I didn't really much care for you.
Right.
But I have this ring. Oh, I have like 8. I got this one. This one will destroy a city. Don't touch that. This one needs to be recharged, but it turns me invisible for 1,000 seconds. This one turns me into chameleon, which is even better, and it's got a full charge, mind you. This one, you're a werewolf now. I'm sorry. Was that like, okay, what kind of transformation was that? Was that like a blinding light or American Werewolf in London? Because I feel like if you were just going through like an agonized 5-minute cry as and I'm just like sitting here playing with my rings, I'm gonna feel like an asshole, man. Even evil people deserve empathy. That's my motto.
It was more like the Howling, actually.
Oh, okay. So he's just standing there doing like, oh man, mom, watch. Like okay, and this ring. I got this at Joe Bosch. I stole this from Joe Bosch. I should probably give it back. It's not that good.
Joe Bosch Rare Books.
Like, hey, you're a werewolf. You're still wearing the ring. Okay, I don't know how that works. Where's your armor, by the way? Is it okay? Anyway, he's not that tough of a fight. You just kill him. You loot his ring, and like, oh, this will turn you into a werewolf with no repercussions. Okay, I'll put it in the junk pile.
I'll put it back at home.
Okay, I'll give this to Joe Basha instead. I do kind of wish that there was a way to pickpocket that onto someone to see if they'll turn into a werewolf. That's a hell of a prank. Anyway, you finally find the ice giant, and he's just like the last. Like, I do love that Hercene is basically put on the Cell games, and he's invited there. Okay, you fought. Okay, you didn't even fight the Imperial Commander. I was hoping you would. You fought my werewolves, and you fought the evil skull guy with my ring. So I guess that qualifies you to fight the ice giant. Good luck.
Right, which is actually a pretty cool boss fight.
It is a very involved boss fight.
Yes.
Apparently, you can nerf him pretty easy if you turn into a werewolf. I never thought to do that.
Right.
Like I've got the slow burning death.
And that's important to know. Morrowind will let you play the way you want.
Yeah.
In Oblivion or Skyrim, you would have had to have gone werewolf. There would have been no choice.
Oh yeah. Like someone will say, "Drink of my blood."
Right.
It just fated. That's unsanitary.
It's very unsanitary. Drinking blood, ew.
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 I don't care how unique your character model is, lady. I don't want none. O negative, AB positive, lycanthrope infested. No.
I don't care what B-movie actress did your voice. I'm not drinking it. I'm not.
Look, there are a lot of people I can marry in this game. Up to and including men. This is 2012.
I don't need you. I don't need you.
Look, I've got a lot of options. I don't need to marry a werewolf. There's probably a vampire out there. I don't know. Anyway, you finally kill the ice giant, and then you fight Hersey, and he's like, "Okay, what kind of boss fight are you looking for?"
Because let me tell you, buddy, I've got plenty on the line.
I can be a bear. I really like being a bear. He's got like a catalog and brochures for your boss fight. Look, I want to make this experience as memorable as possible.
Look, you're walking out of here with a boss fight, and I don't care what it takes. We've got financing. We've got.
I only show up once a millennia.
And forgive me, but I think it should be special.
Would you like my spear or my all this? My hide. You know, it's going in the junk pile, man, so I don't really care.
It's going back home, Balmora.
Yeah, I'm just going to give all this to some poor kid, and he's going to turn into a werewolf, also turn invisible, cast fire without even wanting to. It'll be a laugh. Maik the liar will get a kick out of it when I see him again.
In Oblivion.
Like I like to think that Maik the liar actually is that, like, he's not lying. He's just lived through so many other people's games. Like, there is a were-shark out there. There is someone who modded a way to turn himself into a shark, but he hates water. Like, dude, I saw this guy. He turned into a shark.
That was an ambulance that time.
Yeah, he turned into a shark. Need an ambulance.
They kind of work. That's the direction of my mom and dad's house. I might need to call them. But no, they're fine because it would have been we would have heard it anyway.
Yeah,
but,
that's true.
We would have heard it if it was theirs. But so my mom and dad are fine. Morrowind, we say this at the end of all of them, but it's one of those games you have to experience. You have to sink your teeth into Morrowind. We didn't even touch the iceberg. I mean, the tip of the iceberg.
I love the main quest is so fulfilling when you finally accepted that you are Nerevar, a new Nerevar, and your relationship to Dagath-Ur, who is still in his own twisted way incredibly loyal to you.
Yes,
in a way.
That's the cool aspect of that.
I've waited so long.
Right, dude. Yes, he
is the dog from Futurama that everyone tears up about.
Oh yeah, Fry's dog.
Forever, I will wait for you. If it takes 1,000 summers. I love every book in Morrowind.
The books, yeah. That's what I was telling my friend earlier when I was texting him. Dear God, the books.
So much of the story is just told, like, not even, like... I love the exposition in the game because the books are fiction in a fictional universe. You don't know exactly... Some of this isn't true. But some of it is based off folklore that is present. And, like, there's the story of the... there's basically a 3-book joke.
Right.
About an armor... That it's a skill book, but even a skill book, like, instead of just giving you, like, this book is about armor, you gain +1 skill in armor. No, this is a full-fledged story about a famous armorer and a guy who moves so well in heavy armor that he's actually faster and better in every way with it on than as opposed to without.
Right.
And he has a wife that he's very jealous over, but she doesn't like him that much. Because he's always out fighting, and she has this secret lover. Like, you know what? I'm gonna sabotage this guy. I'm gonna sabotage his armor, like gunk it up so much that he'll lose this duel. Then we'll be free to live as we want. But for some reason, I can't remember exactly what happens, but he manages to survive using some specific technique. And he can't get the armor off because it's gunked over. But he comes back to his wife, kills her fiance, And then he goes back out for round 2 of the boss fight, and his wife is out on the balcony and blushing, and her secret lover is dead. Like, wait, if her secret lover is dead, she's blushing, she likes him now. What exactly happened in that bedroom? Well, let's just say he does everything better with heavy armor on. It's the aristocrats in book form.
And it's stuff like that you just don't get in the other games. I mean, Morrowind, it's just...
I mean, you could say, like, in Morrowind, where you make flaming dogs fall from the air over the cat village, I could imagine the main character just, like, standing in the middle of the aristocrats. Or the aristocats.
The Aristocats, yes.
Ooh, the cats. But every time I played Morrowind, when I was in those formative years, it was always something new.
Always something. And then to this day, like I said, I could still boot it up on the PC and still find something new to do on it. Like it's just such. They packed so much into that island. They packed so much onto it, even without the expansions. And it's just it's a classic. I mean, it's an absolute classic. It's the best Elder Scrolls they ever did. I can't think of anything. Like I said, I want them to prove me wrong that Morrowind is the best, but I doubt they ever will.
I can't. I always associate Dagothor's voice acting. Just that voice.
Oh yeah, and
it's so commanding.
Such a memorable villain because, like you said, he's a villain. He's very unique in the world of villains in that he's loyal to the protagonist.
Yeah,
in his own twisted way.
Like, he's still compelled to fight you, but at the same time, that was his goal. Like, you can't have these tools. You can't access the heart.
Right.
No one can access this heart.
Right.
And I will kill anyone and everyone who's near it.
Right. Okay. Even you, Nerevar.
Even this goddamn island.
Right.
It needs to be purified.
Right. Like, it's... God, it's
only me and the people who have been touched by this evil can live. This is a quarantine. It's the Corpusarium writ large.
Right, and that's why the wall was built around Red Mountain.
It was failing when you found him.
Yep.
Like, it's not failed. You don't feel any urgency, but it needs to be checked out.
Right.
And I do like that there's guard posts with different adventures. There's the you can find Tiber Septim, or at least an incarnation of him.
Right. Right.
He gives you a coin. Like, you know what? Like he says, I think this empire. He doesn't say I'm Tiber Septim, but he's just a mysterious soldier, waxing philosophic about the empire and everything it's accomplished, and wondering what will come after because everything has to end.
Right, and it's really the first time we're ever told that the empire will end.
Mm-hmm. And he is a divine. He is straight up a divine. He can do that.
Right.
This is a thing divines can do. So it's really cool that they just introduced this. Like right as you're about to complete the game, he seeks you out at this place. You're probably going to stop. You can easily miss him,
right?
But he's just there, like, hey, here's a bunch of things about the Empire. I really like it, but everything has to end. I'm curious what world's going to be like. What kind of world are you going to inherit?
Right. I forgot all about that.
He's such
the Tiber
a good
Septim
old
NPC.
person.
Yeah. But yeah, that's all I've got to say about Morrowind. Go play it. Get out there. Make your own story.
I'd say, like, even there's no real reason not to play it. It's not dated.
No, it's not dated at all. It still plays exactly. It still plays the exact same way. In fact, I probably will go home and play it.
It's my favorite of the Elder Scrolls game. It's the most fun.
It's the best Elder Scrolls. It's the most fun. It's the deepest. It's the most fulfilling.
Like, no matter Skyrim, there's a lot to explore. I'm not gonna say there's not.
It's a very pretty game.
Every time you hit something in Morrowind, you can dive for a long time.
There's more.
There's always
and more and more.
It's so deep. There's always, if you look hard enough, there's always a sunken ship with a bunch of pillows.
There's a farm dispute. There's a big farm dispute. Just find out about it. Those bull netches, man. But this is Donaram saying, "Go play Morrowind."